People with Big Green Buses is a short documentary that discusses the effects of activism. The story is following Jeremy Middleton and his traveller community set in Glastonbury as they prepare to start what he calls a community relief project. This has the aim of providing aid to homeless people, to flood victims, and most importantly to provide information and support for protest groups. In the 90s, Jeremy was at the forefront of the anti-road protest movement. This movement was ignited when Jeremy stepped in front of a bulldozer with his infant son in his hands to protest against the road being built. People saw this and they realised that they could actually stand up to the establishment. They would sabotage machines, they would dig tunnels, and most importantly, in places like this, they would climb in trees and they would live in them for months at end to stop the roads being built. And although there was an overall victory from each protest, they lost the battle. That left a lot of people very mentally and physically damaged. This is where we return to Jeremy and his team now. Jeremy is probably still haunted by the PTSD from the 90s. But despite this, Jeremy is still politically active and he still has a passion in changing the lives of others around him. This is where you walked.
Yeah, from there. I only did about 100 metres from there to there. So, you'd never know it from any other field. I'd like to think one day there'd be a stone here erected, but I doubt if that's going to happen.
Doing a documentary like this at this time is actually so key because political activism is just as much of a main subject now as it was even back in the 90s. People nowadays think of activism as literally signing something online, and really that's just so impersonal. And through this documentary, we're really showing that there is this team and this community of people led by Jeremy who actually really want to help others and want to help people in difficult situations.
And that's one thing I like about the sign, what it says, that what we are, we're just people. But we want to do it all prim and proper. We're all, it's like Jerry says, all the coaches, the same colour. We're not a bunch of hippies. No chance. No. No way. We're out to serve the people.
Unlike fiction films where there can be second, third takes, within documentary there's no real such thing because you want to capture the moment as pure as possible.
And we had to work out our ethical line as to where did we want to step into and what did we want to find out, but what was too much.
You've got to build a relationship with your characters to know them so they can reveal things with you. And I think that was an initial struggle. I think Jeremy, our main character, had a wall at the start that he was putting up. There are always trust issues. It's a balance between pursuit of a film and an art and a story, between somebody's actual personal life and how much we're invading on that.
Jeremy was sometimes actually quite sceptical of what we were doing there and what he wanted to show us. But over time, we've actually just gained his trust. And that was one of the great things about doing this documentary, is that you can connect with the people that you're filming with, and you shouldn't force them into anything, but through actually spending the time and the effort with them and showing that you're trying to really show who they are and be truthful of who they are, it meant that they were really open with us by the end.
So for People with Big Green Buses, the documentary has been going on for about 6 months, and that required a lot of organisation of the footage. Me and David had a very similar mindset with how we wanted to approach it, and that was the idea of making it feel very organic whenever we were cutting between characters. And also we didn't want to essentially disrupt certain moments, or we didn't want to feel like we were cheating the emotion. So we held on shots very long at points, but I think this was necessary because you wanted this to be, in some sense, a window into their lives and almost just observing them as they go about these certain activities.
The reason why I wanted to make this film was I just felt like it was a story that needed to be told. We built a really personal, what I like to think, a personal, intimate relationship with Jeremy over 6 months. And it is about activism, but it's also about people, human nature. I just think it's an examination into a person that's been through, seen so much, experienced so much, but he's not wallowing in misery, he's doing something about it. And I think it also goes back to that Ripple moment where he stood in front of the bulldozer with his son, and it's like there's this effect that not only did it affect, the government and did it affect the movement, but it's affect people's lives 30 years later because of that. Maybe this film could inspire somebody to make that move, that one movement, stepping over that red tape. Maybe that could achieve so much, and hopefully this film inspires that. I don't stream documentary filmmaking, okay? I'll find a way.
Treasure with blades of red.
Documentary filmmaking very seriously. Come on.
It's his sands with a bottle of rum and a pirate stench.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's Matty's favourite pet, that is. But that's like happy rat dancing. Chilling out, doing a bit of hip hop.
Why have you got a dead rat, Jeremy?
One slip and you cut to ribbon.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Just currently changing over David's lav right now, just because hearing him is better than not hearing him.
Our main character, Jeremy Middleton, seized his baby in his hands, stepped over... Shut up. Seized his baby.
And leave the bones for the mermaid's tea.
I never get to do the fun stuff. Anyway, that's me done. Oh. Hi, I'm Matthew Campbell. I'm actually the editor for this.
Boom, baby.
I don't know. I mean, is that all right? What do you reckon? I thought that was all right. Until the end, won't cut that out. But you're panning away slowly. You can't pan away from me.